Hey, what's going on, guys? This is David the Son, Raised to Others, coming back at you with another live video. And I had a few minutes while I was waiting on the order to come up, so I just wanted to take a second to talk about drug addiction, particularly as it relates to DMX's current situation, right? So DMX told a story about being like 14 years old, and one of his partners, or one of the OGs on his hood, gave him he had never done drugs before, and the OG gave him a joint, but it was laced with crack, and he didn't tell him. It was a joint or a blunt or something, but it was laced with crack, and he didn't tell him. He didn't know till afterwards. And so you can have somebody who do drugs regularly or routinely and not be hooked, and then you can have somebody who on their first time, boom, they can't live without it. So here is what happens, right? So the first thing you have to understand is that there is a biochemical reaction happening in the brain, okay? And so depending on the amount of trauma that a person experiences in childhood, in most cases, okay? Not all cases, but in most cases, depending on the amount of trauma that the child experienced that the person experienced in childhood, and also related to the historical genetic legacy, right? Like if you come from a family of alcoholics, then you are more likely to be an alcoholic, okay? But anyway, one of the things I want to point out is, so when you look at drug addicts, right, what you have to do, because I hear some people saying like if you're a drug addict, you're weak. And they don't understand, right? Because let's say that the human condition for satiation of life, right? Just satiation of life. Things that make you normally feel good, right? The good feeling that you normally feel, right? So, you might kiss your wife, you feel good. You hug your children, you feel good. Like there's a lot of things that you can do that you can feel good. But if you come from a chaotic familial background, you have a genetic legacy and a social legacy that you don't understand what that good feeling is like, right? So let's say you're growing up as a kid, you live in life, and life is hard on you, right? And then let's say in DMX situation, you get that first hit and boom, now you at 100. Now the rest of us are at 100 normally, but he's never been at 100 before. And so for the first time, he experienced 100. Now for you may hit the drug, but you already at 100. So maybe you go up to 105. So for you, it don't make sense how somebody could be addicted to drugs because you went from a 100 to a 105. But you have to understand that this person probably went from like a 20 to a 100. And then you can understand, like, the only time that person feels normal is when they are high, right? You feel normal all the time at 100, so you don't need drugs and alcohol like that. But this other person, man, they need it all the time because without it, they feel like a 20. And once you get it, once you get to that 100 feeling, you don't never want to go back down to a 20. And that's what you have to think about when you think of drug addiction, right? Each person is like me telling everybody should be able to dunk. And that's just not true. I'm 6'4", I can dunk. If you 5'5", you can't dunk, right? And that's a genetic reality. That's your genetic reality. You don't have the genes that produced you to be able to do something that I can do. And so you can have a person that is genetically averse to being addicted, and that person would judge somebody whose experience they could never relate to.